So real quick, if you don't know what the CAGED system is, it's basically just a way of seeing chord shapes from all of the original open chords that you probably learn when you start learning the guitar into movable shapes without any open strings. If I wanted to do it all in D, this is what they would all look like. It's a way of getting you used to the fretboard and to see different ways you can play these chords, to the left side of the root note or to the right side of the root note. For example, you might just be really comfortable with the A shape of D major, but that's having all of the intervals leaning to the right side of the fretboard. But the C shape opens up a whole nother way to look at the intervals by going to the left side of the root note. The added benefit too is that all of these chord voicings are slightly different. So a lot of the times when you're slanting to the right side, you hear root note, fifth, root note, and then the third is like one of the last intervals you hear in the harmony. Whereas when you're leaning to the left side doing those chord shapes like the C shape, the G shape, you're gonna get the root and then the third right away followed by the fifth. So you're hearing different voicings, which is also good for your ear to really pick apart these harmonies. The other nice thing is that they all connect. Literally the acronym CAGED, you can lay them out in order across the fretboard and they all kind of overlap with each other a little bit. I like to include the F shape, and I know why people don't usually consider that part of the system, because it's not an open chord initially. When you look at an F major down here, technically I should be barring the bottom two strings. A lot of people do it with the high E string being open. So you might think, oh, the F major actually is an open chord. But the high E string actually changes it into an F major 7. We're not talking about that necessarily in this video, but that would be the sound of that chord. You're introducing a fourth chord tone when you have that open E string there. So it should just be, if we're just looking at the triads, it should be a closed chord shape without any open strings. So I understand why, to stay consistent with the CAGED system, you do not want to have the F shape kind of involved. But the reason why I actually disagree with that a little bit is that the other thing you notice, like I said earlier, with the CAGED shapes, is that each root note has two different chord shapes, one leaning to the left side of the fretboard and the second leaning to the right side of the fretboard, except for the D shape. When you get to the D shape, you're only doing the D shape, and that leans to the right side. So to stay consistent and also to have good fretboard awareness, I like to add in the F shape, which will be off that same root note off the D string, but leaning to the left side of the fretboard. Now true, the F shape is inside the E shape. If you look at it, it's going to be the upper octave of the E shape. So is it a little redundant? Maybe. But like I said, it still gives you really good fretboard awareness. It makes the CAGED system a little bit more even. So now every time you find root notes for whatever chord you're playing, you can find two chord shapes every single time. One to the left, one to the right.